another episode of the History of the Bay podcast, sponsored by the good people of Amoeba Music, San Francisco, and the folks of Dying Breed, San Francisco. Behind the lens, we got Rocky Vision, we got King Said, we got the producer Skino in the cut. On the boards, once again, we got DEO, and today we got a special guest, a low-key Frisco legend. Doesn't give the props he deserves all the time, but we're going to give him his props today. The one and only DJ X1.
Thank you for having your boy, fam.
Come on,
Appreciate
man. Come on, man. Mandatory, brother. Mandatory. Yeah. Me and you go back a ways. You've always been very supportive of everything I've been doing, whether it's music or the history joint or the podcast. I'm a fan of your work, and I want people to know your story, man.
That's what's up, man. Well, I definitely got a little something to tell the folks, man. You know, a lot of cats ain't knowing, my story of how I, got in the game, how I licked up with a lot of the MCs and, so I'm going to let you guys know today, man.
That's right. Let's start at the very beginning. Take us back to, tell the people where you grew up and what your childhood was like.
Well, I grew up in Fillmore, San Francisco, born and raised, born right there in Mount Zion Hospital. You know what I mean? And man, I grew up in when Fillmore was just really grimy, man, back in the days. We talking like the late 80s, early 70s, late 70s, early 80s, you know what I mean? And Fillmore was a bad area, man. That's we have Fillmore Slim out there really doing his thing heavy like, you know what I mean? And, the neighborhood was real bad, man. It was real bad. It was like one of the, probably the roughest neighborhood in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Then I came up and, doing my thing. And then I got into DJing, man, probably like in, I'll say 1988, something like that. That's when I started DJing, you know what I mean? But before that, I was a dancer, actually. A lot of people don't know I used to dance. I used to be a strutter, man. I was in 2 dance groups. I was in the group called Monty the Mechanical Midgets.
Okay.
People probably know about that. Then I was in the group called Granny and the Roper Choice.
Okay.
So I used to dance battle against a lot of cats. Cats used to come pay me, man, just to battle against dude, because my thing, I was a popper.
Mm-hmm.
I used to pop real hard. So, yeah, man, I was a dancer before I even got into the music. Then later on, when I stopped dancing, that's when the music and the DJing thing came along.
A lot of cats have come on the show and talked a lot about that whole strutting scene. Like, shout out to the homie Pop Tart. Matter of fact, we did an event with Pop Tart. I think it was for your birthday a couple years ago.
We did.
On Filmo. That was dope.
Yeah, it was a pre-Juneteenth thing we had did.
Right. But yeah, that comes up a lot on this show. Like, a lot of people got their start before hip-hop was really booming. People was into the dancing and the strutting, like, specifically. Especially in Fillmore, it seems like.
Yeah, and see, that's our history, man, because we got our own style of dancing. Like, the East Coast, they was more into break dancing.
Mm-hmm.
But here in the West Coast, specifically the Bay Area, we was more into strutting, pop locking, and boogalooing. That was our thing.
Right. So what was your first exposure to hip-hop besides, like, the dance part that we're talking about?
As far as the music part, man, I got introduced to hip-hop actually in the mid-'80s. I say around 88, something like that. And it all started, me and my partner, Tony Tone, we was just partners. We was riding our bikes downtown, little bad kids just getting off into stuff. And we ran through this building. And this building, man, happened to be KPOO. It used to be in the alley in Otoma Street, back in the early 80s. So, we just wanted to go in there and see what's up with it because it had a lot of interesting paintings on the outside of it. So we went in the inside. We met this dude named Otis. He was the engineer at the time. So, he took us and embraced us and like, yeah, young fellas, come on in, check it out. And we asked what it was. He said it was a radio station. So, we got to looking around and after that point, man, we started hanging out there almost every day. Then I started meeting some of the cats that actually worked there. The first cat I met was this dude named Lamar Player. I met Dude, then after I met him, I met Frankie J. Then there's some other cats named Tim and Dirk. Then they all did hip-hop shows. This is before hip-hop really got popular when Rappers Delight and Fatback Band first came out. King Tim III actually was the first hip-hop record I heard. Before Rappers Delight, it was King Tim III by the Fatback Band, which is actually a R&B group, but they had a DJ, a radio disc jockey on there, and he's the one that did the rapping. So, yeah, that's the first thing I went into. And, so that's actually how I got into DJing, man. It's from going to KPOO, seeing them guys do their thing, and then inspired me and my boys. So we put our little money together, man, bought us a little tape deck, bought us a little turntable and a little mixer, and we started doing our thing.
Okay. So were there other like DJs in the area too that you like in the city that you were looking up to or learning from, or were you just figuring things out as you went?
Yeah, man, it was a lot of cats we used to look up to, man. One dude we used to actually check out was a cat named Stills DeVille. Now, one thing about Stills DeVille, man, Stills DeVille was a dude, he used to do parties in a U-Haul van. That's actually where Lonnie Green got it from.
Damn.
From Stills DeVille. So he used to do parties in a U-Haul van. He used to park over in a lot by Virgo's. And, he used to put his little speakers out, and he walked off with 2 tape decks. So they have 2 tape decks, man, and rocking, and everybody used to come and skate. Shelby was like this big yoke guy, but he was a really great skater. So dudes used to skate around, man, and used to have the neighborhood popping. So that was one dude that we kind of looked at, that I kind of liked it, that I looked up to when I was younger. Another guy was Dr. Funk. I don't know if cats heard of him, but he go by the name of Dr. Funk. Some people know him as High Top. He used to work out Wild 107 at one time.
I think he was also at that event that I was just talking about that we did on Fillmore.
I think he probably was around, because he's still hanging the Fillmore every now and then.
Yeah.
But that guy, man, one thing about him, whenever he did his gigs, all the ladies flocked to his events. So he had all the women just coming to his thing, and, that's one guy I used to always look up to. He had all the jams, all the females, and a big crew.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cat that actually put me on was Big Bob.
Mm-hmm.
That's my guy, man. When I was younger, I told dude that I'm trying to, getting off in the DJ. Me and my partner, Tony Tone, we linked up with him. He used to let me come into the house, make tapes, mix on his little, on his mixer and his little turntables. And, he's the first dude to actually let me do a party in front of people. So I give much love to Big Bob. And then the last dude I love, that taught me a little something, was a guy named DJ Electric Black. He passed away, R.I.P. to Electric Black. But this dude, he used to build his own speakers, had like 4 18 inches in the speakers. And this dude, he the one that got me into quick mixing. Because this dude, he'll mix the record in, he'll mix the record out so fast. I'm like, dude, you didn't even let the record play. But that was his style. So I kind of emulated that coming from him. But I got to give Grandmaster Flash props to that, because he the one started off the quick mix theory, which I didn't know till later on in life. Yeah, so them the 4 main guys that actually, got me into DJing, who I was inspired by.
What were your names, your DJ names before X1?
My first name I started out with was Scratch Master T.
That's hard.
The only thing I did was just do a lot of scratching. Me and my boy, we actually was a tag team DJ crew. He'll put stuff in the mix. Like, he'll come take a break record, and he keep going back and forth, and I keep doing the scratching over it, and we'll switch off, and I do the same, and he'll start doing the scratching. But it started off as Scratch Master T, then later on, I changed to DJ Rock. And I think I kept that name for about probably 2 years, and that's actually when I first linked up with Huey. But I changed the name from DJ Rock to DJ X1 because DJ Rock, there was another guy named DJ Easy Rock. So I didn't want to sound like him, so I need to have something that was different and ain't nobody got. So that's how I got the name DJ X1.
Okay, so that's the trick. We'll get into this more a little later because, when we had Huey in here a couple weeks ago, and I noticed that It's the Game was Huey EMC and DJ Rock.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that was you.
Yeah.
I thought he might. I forgot to ask him about it, but so I thought he might have had another DJ before you. So y'all was always a duo.
We was always a duo. I was Huey's first DJ because Huey used to DJ himself. He was a DJ himself.
That. Yeah.
But he needed somebody to DJ while he do the performance, and that's when me and him linked up. And DJ Rock was my name. But when we first linked up with It's the Game, which is a classic hot song, man. I love that song.
I love that song too.
Yeah. Then it changed to DJ Rock. I changed it to that name later on when I became a Muslim. Because I used to be a Muslim with the Nation of Islam under the teaching of Minister Farrakhan.
And they had a pretty big presence in the Mo, right?
What's that?
The Nation had a pretty big presence in Fillmore, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
The largest presence. They used to have a mosque actually on Octavia Street. I think it was Octavia and Hayes, something like that, before they moved to Hunters Point.
Right.
And that's when I got into them, when they was on Octavia Street. But that's where the name X1 came from. And X1 actually have a meaning to it. A lot of people don't know. And what the meaning of DJ X1 is, DJ is, of course, what I am. X, because a lot of African Americans in America don't know their original name, like Malcolm X and stuff like that. So the X becomes because the African American don't know our original name. We took on the European name. which Richard, Jefferson, 80, stuff like that. That's all European names. So that's where the X come from. The one to become the black man is the first man on this planet. We're the original man. So that's where the one come from. So, yeah, that's what DJ X1 mean, man. And a lot of cats don't know that. Nobody actually really know that.
That's dope. That makes sense, too, because I believe, right, one thing that the nation did, right, they would have, like, let's say you have Thomas X, right?
Yes.
But then if there's two Thomas, it would be Thomas X2.
Yep.
Right? That's why they have Clarence 13X.
Yeah.
Is the founder of the 5% Nation.
That's right, over in the East Coast.
Right. Okay, so I didn't know that. That's dope. That's some rare Frisco trivia right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just mentioned his name. How did you hook up with Hugh EMC?
Me and Hugh, we got linked up because he was looking for a DJ. And he had heard about me throughout the neighborhood because I used to make a lot of mixtapes and give mixtapes to my homie. I used to DJ all the little block parties and stuff at the Culture Center. So, one day me and him had met and we chopped it up. And then, he asked if I wanted to be his DJ. I'm like, yeah, man, why not? Because I already knew who Huey was. I had some of his underground songs. So, yeah, so we linked up and the first this first song we did was It's the Game. That's the first time he took me to the studio. And then after that, man, we just kind of linked up and started making some good music from that point on.
So were you doing some of the production?
Yes.
On It's the Game?
Yes. On It's the Game, actually, that's a joint he did solo before I got linked up with him.
But he just put your name on it, on the strength. Because y'all were a group, basically.
At that time.
It's that's like some old school hip hop shit. It's like Guru and DJ Premier, right? That's a group. There's a lot of groups that was like the DJ was part of the group back then.
Yeah. So my production started coming in is actually after we did a song called Pimp Style. So we did Pimp Style, so I usually come with the bass lines, just scratching, and he would come with the drums and the arrangement. And from that point, that's how all of our music was. Like we did Gangsta-matic, I came with all the scratching, I came with the bass line, he came with the kick drums and arrangement, and the same with my poetry and Gangsta-matic and all that stuff, so all the bass lines was me and the scratching was me, then all the arrangements and drum kicks was him.
Right. So when Huey was here, we were talking about the impact that the H-Nigga Groove had. Keep a Bitch Broke.
Yeah, that joint was one of our biggest records, man. That joint was one of our biggest records, and it's crazy because we wasn't expecting that song to take off. We had put more work into Gangsta-matic, so we actually thought Gangsta-matic was going to be the joint, but it was H-Nigga Groove. So when that joint took off, we're like, okay, we're going to ride with that one, and that joint, just ended up being a classic Frisco joint.
Bay Area, West Coast classic. Yeah, for sure. What was the response like? Like, were you seeing like, oh shit, I'm seeing some success in this music, my name is getting out there? Were you starting to see things come together for you?
Yes, because I noticed once we started coming out with the singles, man, a lot of cats started booking us for shows. A lot of cats started getting at me for production. You know what I'm saying? Because I produced a song for Cougnut. A lot of people don't know that, but I did a song for Cougnut called Listen. That's off of, I can't remember the single that it was off of, but I did the song called Listen. And then I actually produced a EP for my boy called The COD from Patrol Hill. So I produced that whole joint, the kick drums, everything. The same with the joint I did for Cougnut. But my dope boy, DJ Rob V, he did the scratching on there. So when you hear the cuts, that's all DJ Rob V.
Shout out to Rob V from IMP.
That's my guy, yeah.
Yeah. So when we've had a lot of Frisco rappers on the show, and there are other rappers who are out there doing the thing, but like really the two who set off the Frisco rap scene were Hugh EMC and Cougnut.
I think probably in Fillmore, we was the first rap group in Fillmore that kind of jumped it off. Because after us, then came Rappin Forte. It was a lot of underground rappers. Of course, JT the Bigger Figga came along the line. And there's a few other rappers, man. But I think we was the first rap group out of Fillmore to get it jumping off. In Hunters Point, they had like RBO Posse, you know what I'm saying, Herm Lewis, and a lot of other cats that was doing their thing.
But they all came after you and Cougnut.
I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure about
Pretty
that.
sure, because you guys were in the 80s.
Yeah.
They didn't drop till the 90s.
Yeah.
So how did you first meet Cougnut?
Me and Cougnut was folks before he was even a rapper. Because Cougnut, he was actually from Fillmore before he moved to Lakeview. He stayed in the same buildings I stayed in, Prince Hall Apartments. He was actually my neighbor. So me and him, we actually used to just hang out, man, and just, you know, do teenage stuff. You know what I mean? And that's how me and Cougnut linked up. And then when he moved to Lakeview, later on I hooked up with him. He said, man, I'm rapping now, I'm doing my thing. I'm like, really? And, from that point, he started letting me get his music. We actually still linked up and was chopping it up. And, he just became his own man and created IMP. And, the rest is history.
Yeah. And you mentioned Forte, too. So were you seeing, like, Forte? Because Forte is, like, really, like, one of the first Frisco superstars.
Yeah.
Were you seeing his rise back in those days, too?
I did. Me and Forte used to actually hang out, man. You know what I mean? Forte used to come. I used to go over to his house, actually, and hang out with him. And this dude, man, he used to sit down at the kitchen table where the radio just freestyling. Just all day, just freestyling. I'm like, man, you just doing it. You've been doing this all day. Like, yeah, this is what I do. But Forte, that's how me and him linked up. We used to just hang out and, he just do his freestyle thing. And we just do teenage stuff, man,
That's dope. And then another person in the history lines that you mentioned too, JT the Bigga Figga.
Yes.
You saw him from when he first started.
Actually, I met Demo first.
Okay.
Demo was the first dude I met because I used to actually do, not really beats, but I used to stand brace for Demo. He used to come over the house. And back then I was doing tape deck edits. So I take a break and I just keep pause editing and made it long so Demo can do his freestyle over. So he used to come over my house and just do his freestyles. Then later on, he introduced me to JT the Bigga Figga. Then that's when me and JT started linking up. And, then JT had put me under his wing because he was doing his thing. That's when he started to get low, records. So JT put me under his wing, and I was actually JT's first DJ. A lot of cats don't know that, but I was actually JT's first DJ. I was his first promoter. I went and promoted his material over in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. I took his material down to L.A., and I actually promoted him all around the Bay Area because I was a promoter at one time. And, so, that's how me and JT linked up. And I actually did a song for JT, too. I produced one track for JT. It was on a cassette tape. The cassette tape had like about 6 songs on it. I can't remember the name of the town, even though it had a name on it, but it's a black and white cover with JT basically squatting down with his cell phone.
Oh, was this like SFC on the Rise or something like that?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But I did a track on there. It was more like an intro track on there. So I did one track on there.
Right.
And yeah, me and JT been linked up from that point on, man. And much love to JT, man. JT, he doing big things right about now.
For sure. Shout out to JT, another guest that we had here on the podcast. So now we're talking like we're starting the early 90s, right? We're like you said, RBL, Boomin, all these other. Who are some other artists that you're seeing come out around this time?
We also San Quinn. When San Quinn first started rhyming, San Quinn was actually on a label called Buck 50 Records with my boy Gigolo G and this cat named Steve Collins, because they had a studio and they put his first album out. And actually had a song on that album. You know what I'm saying? But the song got pushed. I think JT had produced the song. He already had the song completed. So he had put his song. But I had a song on San Quinn first album called Gangsta Mentality. That was the name of the song, but it never really came out. It never manifested.
Anybody else that you were building with around this time, too?
Them were the main cast that I was basically linked up with, man. But after I did promotion, I did do a lot of promotion. I did some promotion for this company called Ghetto Street Pass Promotion. Then we promoted music for Death Row Records when Death Row first came out. We promoted for Tommy Boy Records when they first came out. And a little bit of promotion for MCA Records.
Okay.
And one thing about me and Huey, when we toured, we used to tour with 415 Camp. With Richie Rich, D-Loke, and DJ Daryl. So we used to tour with them. Who was other groups? We used to tour with this group called the Killer Tribe out of Sacramento. So we toured with them, and it was like a light tour, just a few little areas here in the Bay Area. We didn't leave out the Bay Area. Yeah. But yeah, there was some of the cats that we actually toured with, man. It was a pretty good tour.
And at a certain point, you and Hugh EMC kind of went your separate ways?
Yeah. I think the reason why me and Huey split up, because we had so much success with the Ace Nigga Rube single. I felt it was time for us to make an album. I'm like, man, we need to make an album, dog. I mean, we kind of pop in, you know what I mean? Everybody else at that time had their album out. RBO had their album out. IMP had their album out. Forte had his album out. 415 Camp had their album out. And I'm like, man, we need to release an album. He didn't want to release an album. he wanted to release an EP. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, we need to release this album, dog. We popping, so we can get features from all these cats that we linked up. We could have got features from RBO Posse, IMP, and everybody else, but he wasn't feeling that at the time. And when he wasn't feeling that, I was a little upset. I'm like, man, we should make an album. What we doing? You know what I mean? So from that point on, I think we kind of went our separate ways because we had different creativity ideas.
Yeah.
But that's still my folks, though. We still linked up to this day. Anything he need, I got him. Anything I need, he got me. So we still family. But at that particular time, if you would have came out with the album, it would have been super fire. I know it would have been.
Yeah, for sure. When did you start DJing on KPOO?
I started DJing at KPOO. Well, I was an intern in 1993. I became an intern and I was just basically filling in for people. So one of the guys who I filled in for the most was my boy DJ G. He had the late night show, which I'm doing now from 10 to 2. And, he was working a lot. So he was working so much he wasn't able to make his show. So I kept filling in for him. And at that time, my man JJ, which is the music director there now, he didn't want to say, man, you want to do this show? I'm like, sure, man. And that was actually in 98. So I was actually an intern there for like probably 5 years before I got a chance to actually be on air. So 98 is when I actually got on air. And from that point, man, I've been on air just doing my thing strong ever since.
That's crazy because that's also like where you got your start.
That is.
So it's like all full circle.
Yeah.
So KPOO is like really important because it was like black-owned station.
Yes.
And they were the first station in the Bay Area to play hip-hop, correct?
We was. I think one of the first DJs there to play hip-hop was actually Frankie J.
Okay.
He was one of the first cats to play hip-hop records, and then, cats like Marcus Clemens came along and took it to another level. My man KK, baby, he played hip-hop for a while. A cat named DJ Chill. A lot of people forgot about DJ Chill, but DJ Chill was actually doing his thing, playing a lot of hip-hop also. So, but yeah, we got a strong history, man, of playing hip-hop, and we still, to this day, support Bay Area hip-hop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, y'all been a big supporters of me, yourself, and shout out to KBZ for Sheezy.
Yeah, that's
Rap
my
Snacks
guy.
Radio.
That's my guy.
Yeah, man. And also, like, a lot of artists, like Too Short, RBL, have, like, said that, like, KPOO helped break their records.
Yeah. We was actually the first station to play Too Short records. We the first station to play MC Hammer record. E40 don't know this, but we actually the first station to play E40 records. Before KMEL was KMEL, used to be KSOL. Mm-hmm. It was more like contemporary rock. Mm-hmm. But we was playing hip-hop records at that time. So we broke a lot of records for everybody, man. Spice One, Drew Down, I mean, you name it, we broke their records, man. We was the first to play it.
Yeah, every time I go there, I love seeing like all the pictures on the wall, the signed autograph posters, the records. I think, isn't there like a platinum Too Short record in there?
We have two platinum records that Too Short gave to the station. One by them, Digital Underground blessed with a platinum records. Karen White, she blesses with a platinum record, and Club Nouveau blesses with a platinum
That's
record.
Dope.
So, they show, and Sir Mix-a-Lot. Sir Mix-a-Lot blessed us also. We the first person to break his record also.
Yeah, people, I mean, nowadays hip-hop is everywhere, and people don't understand, like, there weren't that many outlets.
It wasn't.
Back in the day.
It wasn't the mid-'80s and early '90s, it wasn't too many stations that was rocking hip-hop. Matter of fact, they thought hip-hop wasn't going to last.
Right,
they thought it was just a fad.
Yeah.
And here it is, 50 years later?
50 years, man.
Actually, more than 50 years, but that's another story. But, here it is 50 years later, the top music thing in the industry.
So let me ask you this. As a DJ, have you, what do you think about the evolution of the San Francisco DJ scene? Like, were you tapping into what, you mentioned you scratched back in the day, like you started scratching. Were you tapping into, what the Q-Berts and the Mixmaster Mics were doing? Because San Francisco DJing is like a whole separate big scene.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I was. Actually, I had Qbert on my show a few months ago.
Okay.
You know, and Qbert came and blessed us, man, and did a good hour set. You know, and Qbert and Mixmaster Mike and all them, they was really doing their thing, man. They kind of took, actually, Bay Area DJs to another level. Because they got into the DMC DJ battles, and, you know, they started winning, and now they're known worldwide. Mm-hmm. So they did take it to another level. You know what I'm saying? We also got other DJs that was doing their thing, like DJ Durrell. A lot of people don't mention DJ Durrell, but DJ Durrell's a dope DJ also.
A DJ Durrell from 415
yes.
Originally.
He was doing
dope
his thing.
Producer, dope DJ.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so he was doing his thing, and then, you know, I can't forget about my man DJ Tony Tone, man, because DJ Tony Tone was a dope DJ. He's still DJ today, but he left the Bay Area because he got into the service. So now he rocking over in Germany, Europe. He's stationed now over in North Carolina, so he's out there doing his thing at a radio station. But big up to DJ Tony Tone, man. He's been doing his thing for a while, along with me.
That's what's up. That's what's up. What do you think are, like, some of the most important skills for a DJ to have?
I think the number one thing for a DJ to have really is the mix. You know, so even more than the scratch and the trick mix, you got to know how to mix. Because when you're doing a club party, you got to keep the music rolling. You know what I mean? You can't be having no bumpy bumps. You can't be off. So the first thing is the mix. The second thing is your selection. You know what I mean? Because you got to have a good selection that everybody want to hear. And sometimes that can be hard because now a lot of people's kind of program on what commercial radio play. So let's say, for example, somebody gave me a brand new record. I feel it's a slapper, but as I play it, since the people don't know it, they might not rock to it until they hear commercial radio play it. That's how Mac Dre used to be at one time because, you know, Mac Dre was popping so hard in the clubs. Commercial radio didn't play sub at first until he started popping in the clubs. And he popping so hard in the clubs, they had to play his stuff.
Right.
So that's how Mac Dre kind of came up, you know. But, yeah, that's the main thing you got to know how to do, man, is definitely have a mix, have a great selection, and then the trick mixing and the scratch is like additive stuff. But it's really not too good to do too much trick mixing in the club because ain't nobody trying to hear that.
They just want to dance.
They just want to dance.
They
so
keep the party going.
Yeah.
Keep the energy up.
Yeah. A little bit of scratching is cool, but the trick mixing is strictly for the DJ battles.
Yeah. What do you think is the best way? What are some of the best things an artist can do to break their records and get their records to DJs?
I think the best thing they should do is go to college radios.
Yeah.
Go to college radios, go to community radios like KPOO, and that's the best way because commercial radio is really not going to play your music unless you pay them. You pay them like $50, $100 and they may give you some spins, but they're not going to play your music. From my experience, they're not going to play your music on its strength because it's good music, you know, because they go by a playlist. And record companies pay them to play certain songs, so they really don't have the freedom to play what they want to play. They got to play certain things. Now, on the mix shows, they may have a little freedom to play something different, but even on the mix shows, they got to play what's on that playlist.
Right.
So that's the best thing is college radio. That's number one, college radios and community radios.
You've been in the Frisco rap scene, hip-hop scene since the beginning.
Yes.
What do you think of what it looks like today, and who are some artists, whether they're older or younger, who are some artists that are catching your attention right now?
Let me see, it's to be honest, not too many. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I do like Neff the Pharaoh. Neff the Pharaoh got a crazy flow that I like. It's another guy called Nerdy Nate. I like originality. And this guy, Nate, if you haven't heard of Nerdy Nate, you got to check him out. This dude got a crazy style, man. He's original. Who are some of the young cats that I like? Really not too many, man. Not too many.
Yeah.
You know me, because a lot of them sound alike. A lot of them got the same type music style. You know, it's like they scared to be different.
Right.
And I be telling them, I said, man, y'all got to be different. Don't be scared to do different. You got to experiment and see what works.
Right.
But they all got the same sound, rap about the same thing. You know, so I can kind of predict on what their whole album gonna sound like before it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. At the same time, I just let people rock.
Yeah.
You know, if that's what you like, if that's what you do, dope. Even if it's not for me, that's cool, but...
Yeah, because times is different, and you know, everybody got their own little thing going on like our generation did. Then the generation before us had their own thing going on. So, you know, you got to let them have the freedom to do their thing, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I will say this about you, man. You've always supported me.
Yes.
You've always kept the door open. You've played a lot of people here tell me all the time, I just heard you on X1 show, blah, da, da, da.
Oh yeah, I play you almost every week.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, man. And I think for an artist like myself, it's always dope to build with a DJ who's accessible.
Yes.
You know, who's down to earth. And anytime you've hit me for stuff, I'll come through.
Oh yeah.
And just like you came through here tonight.
Yes.
You know, so
and one cat I do want to give a lot of love and respect to, man, is Too Short.
Of course.
I think Too Short is one of the longest running MCs in the Bay Area. His style haven't changed not one bit since day one. He still got the same flow. His beats may change up a little bit because when he first started, his music was kind of more slow tempo. Now it's more up tempo because, you know, it's all about the club scene. But much love to Too Short, man. He's, you know, to me, I call him the godfather of rap here in the Bay Area.
I agree. I think every Bay Area rapper kind of owes something to Too Short.
Yeah.
Because he just set that blueprint of what the beats sound like, the type of descriptions we do about the Bay Area lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then I feel like damn near every rap cat started doing the same thing he did, just selling their music.
Yeah.
On a hand-to-hand basis, or just going out there and getting it on their own. And he started that. He laid that foundation, so.
You know, something I did notice, man, like back in the days, you know, people was heavy on the grind promoting their music. You know, they used to get, like you still get stickers and stuff
yes,
like that and put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
People used to sell their music out their trunks, have the CDs. I noticed a lot of people used to have posters up all around the Bay Area. Yep. I noticed a lot of people don't do that today. You know, nobody have no stickers. Nobody really have no posters up. Mm-hmm. You know, people ain't really getting on the grind trying to promote their music. You know, everything is just online, which is cool, you know what I mean? But I think they kind of lost the element of, you know, promoting themselves. And the same with the music here in the Bay Area. It's a few elements of hip-hop that a lot of artists is not doing. You still do it, but I know some artists don't have scratching in their music. You know what I'm saying? That's the part of hip-hop that's kind of being lost. Nobody have the beatboxing on their music anymore. Another element that's being lost, you know, and, you know, the beat is not really authentic. You know, their beats is more like trap beat, and that's really not a West Coast Bay Area sound, to be honest.
Yeah, which is cool, but not when you're just doing what somebody else is doing and it's not your own type of thing. It's not, that can't really be your own voice if you're using somebody else's formula.
Exactly, and a lot of people don't have their own sound. Like when you listen to early Bay Area hip-hop, everybody had their own little sound. Even though they was probably doing more sample, everybody had their own sound.
And none of it really sounded like other stuff from other parts of the country.
Yeah. Then we came with the hyphy movement. That was our own sound. Mm-hmm. And I'm really, you know, I hate that the hyphy movement kind of died down. It's still here a little bit, but that was a really great sound I like, and that was a great time. You know what I mean? Because we come up with our own dance style, our own music, and our own culture.
Yeah, that's what Quinn was just saying on one of our last episodes, that he felt it could have kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best part about that time to me is that's the only time I've seen the entire Bay together.
Yeah.
Like, for real. The artists, the people in the music, and the people in the streets. It was a beautiful time to be.
And it's an older hip-hop saying. It was about love, peace, unity, and having fun. That's what everybody was doing.
Zulu Nation. Zulu Nation right there. And then, about the promotion, I mean, I think online is important, of course.
Yes, it is.
But we talk about this a lot, man. Like, you got to go out there and make connection with people.
Exactly.
You can't just be a floating head on Instagram all day and people never see you in person.
Yeah.
And that is why I still do stickers and posters, because I like to give stuff to people that they can hold on to.
Yes.
Let's say I give somebody a sticker, they put it on their laptop, you know.
Like I did.
Yeah, thank you, bro. And now, you know, thousands of people are going to see that sticker because it's on that laptop.
Yes.
And then they go online and they still see me online.
Yes.
So, I definitely, there's like an art to promotion. And I think to really be a rap cat that's successful, you got to fall in love with that shit.
Yeah.
You got to get creative with it and look at it just as another creative outlet like your music.
Yes. And I really miss, man, you know what I mean, the on-hand product, you know what I mean? Because nobody releases CDs no more. It's people out there really still rocking CDs.
I know.
It's people out there still rocking vinyl like myself.
I know.
You know, so I really miss the on-hand of having the vinyl and the CD, something you can look at, you know, and see who the producer is, see who the engineer is, see who's the guest vocalist, you know, the whole nine, man.
I know. People ask me how I know so much about like Bay Area history, and that's a big part of it. Just really reading the stuff that was inside the albums, like since back in the day.
Yeah, and I know what you got. Amoebas in the background, man. You know that's a big up to Amoebas because that's where I get a lot of my music from.
Hell yeah!
And them was one of the few record stores that still sell vinyl and CDs to this day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I got to give a lot of love to Amoeba Records. I still rock with them right there on 8th Street. I go there and get my vinyl right now today.
Of course. Shout out to Amoeba. That's a big institution.
Yes.
Yeah, and I miss the feeling of like having music in my hand.
Yes.
I think people take it for granted when like it was just so different when you had to like go to find the product, and now you appreciate that more, right? And now you go on your phone and you're just like, all right, what do I want to listen to? And you could listen to any song in the world.
Yeah.
On your phone.
Which that is cool, man.
It's dope, but it doesn't give you that same type of connection to the music.
And it doesn't last long, you know what I mean?
Because then you can just switch it off, right?
Yeah.
When you got a CD, you're like, I'm rocking with this one till it's scratched, and I got to buy a new CD.
And you can have that in your collection like 10, 15 years from now. You can go back and look through your collection like, oh, man, remember this CD?
Yep.
You can't do that with MP3s, you know what I mean? Because the MP3 is only on a hard drive, and even if it is on your hard drive, it can get lost in the files. But you might not really trip that it's in your files, and you have nothing to look at to like, who is this artist? You know, who was on this album again? You really don't know.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people don't download JPEGs, you know, because that's what they have basically JPEGs to show, you know, who the artist is. So, yeah man, I really miss that time, man, having an on-hand product. I really miss that time.
Well, I'm glad that you're still doing your thing.
Yes, sir.
Still spending 3 days a week, 3 days out of the week, you're on KPOO.
And then I'm on Bay Life Radio every
Yes.
Tuesday.
Shout out to Igor
from
Beats.
12 to 2. That's my guy.
Yes.
So actually 4 days a week, you know. And Igor, you know, over at Bay Life Radio is one of the few guys who break a lot of records himself. You know what I mean?
Does.
You're a Bay Area artist. You got some music out. You know, lacing out to my boy, he definitely gonna give you some love on there.
Look, man, I know there's a lot of fans, but I know there's also a lot of artists that watch this show. Tap in with X1. Tap in with KPOO. Tap in with Igor Beats and Bay Life Radio. Tap in with any DJ, OG, youngster, whoever's doing it. Free play radio, whatever outlet there is. And tap in with folks like X1 that's on the ground level, that got their ear to the street, that got experience, that can give you that good feedback. And let's keep this thing going, because I believe DJs, artists, we all got to work together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Can I plug myself, man? Well, they can check me out, man. You know, so y'all want to hear our rockets, you haven't heard me, you can check me out every Tuesday on Bay Life Radio from 12 to 2. You know what I mean? That's bayliferadio.com. You can check me out every Friday night on KPOO 89.5 from 10 p.m. to 2. You can check me out there. Every Saturday, the Soul of R&B. All soul R&B music from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. And of course, on Sundays from 3 to 7, the Bombay Mix. You know, today's hip-hop.
And what's the best way for someone to send you their music?
The best way, man, is the Bombay Mix. That's TheBombbaymix at yahoo.com.
There you have it, y'all. We have a living legend. This is a San Francisco treasure, a San Francisco icon, someone who's been incredibly supportive of me and everything I do, and I'm happy to be here supporting him. This is a guy, if he calls me, I pull up for X1. Thank you, brother, for coming through, man.
I appreciate you,
man. Let's keep rocking.
That's what's up.
For sure. Thank you to everybody. Everybody, man, I'm getting feedback everywhere I go. People love the podcast. They love the interviews. They always want to see different people on here. I appreciate y'all, man. We're keeping it lit. History of the Bay podcast. Shout out to the whole team. Another dope episode. Peace out.
Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay. Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay.